From having my hand stuck on an oven rack to power outages I didn't understand at the time. Time for another episode of Lore. Welcome back to the Shield Network. I am your host, Bad News Harris, and finally got all the cat hair off of my channel shirts because my cats enjoy my office way too much. Anyway, today, in our second to last episode of this season of Lore, I'm going to be going over when my mother decided to stick my hand on a burning hot oven rack, and when my dad got our power turned back on after it was turned off. So let's get started. Bad memory. I'll admit, when it comes to this night, I don't have a lot of recollection, because this happened on one of the nights that my mother had one of her escapades, and my brother and I were stuck inside of our bedroom closet for hours on end, because, like I've said before, we went in when it was daytime, and we came out when it was nighttime. And my brother and sister, they were always independent, doing what they wanted to do. Not saying like they were just out and about, frolicking out in the world without any care in the world, without any supervision. I mean, like around our home, they just did their own thing, like, you know, typical kids do. My sister had her friends, but she hung out at home whenever she did, or didn't hang out with them. My brother, I don't know what the frick, because by this time I'd given up trying to bond with my brother, so we were basically just three loner kids in the same house. But during this night, when my mother let us out, my brother and sister did whatever they normally do. They were, you know, out of my sight, so out of my mind. But I managed to make my way from bedroom to kitchen because I was thirsty and I was going to get something to drink. Because, again, I've been stuck in a closet for a couple hours. When the kitchen was super hot, I don't even think I found out why the oven was even on during this. But when I went to the kitchen was super hot. The oven was open, and one of the oven racks was on the floor. I still don't understand why. Like, we were locked up in a bedroom for hours, and that wasn't there when we went in. Then we're stuck. My mother's doing whatever she's doing with whoever the hell she's doing it with. But I still don't understand why our oven was turned on, left open, and burning hot rack left on the floor. And since my mother's dead, I will never find out. But I digress. The point is I went in, mind you, since there's an oven in between me and the fridge, I can't exactly get there. Especially since oven open here, burning hot oven rack that I did not yet know was hot. And I didn't know what was going on, and I got close to it, I was examining it, I could feel the heat coming off, so I was a dumb kid, but I wasn't that stupid. My brother was the stupid one, because he took a fork into the light sockets multiple times. I don't know if that's what made him stupid or if that's what made him stupid smart. Because my brother is both. What can I say? Anyway, point is, I didn't know why. I went and asked my mom, why is there an oven rack on the floor? Why is the oven on? And she said, don't get near it because it was hot. And I just asked again, why is it on the floor? She goes, well, if you want to know so badly, then boom, takes my hand. Oh, look at this. Pfft. come to think of it, now I realize why I had why I had the attitude I had when I was branded on my chest. We'll go through that later. The point is that for some reason, I mean, for those who have watched, who have seen any of these episodes of L.O.R.E, you'll know and see that my mother did so many bad things to me, and I never understood why. Except for the fact that she did tell me that I was the unwanted child that made it through. Because, yeah. That's going to be in a later episode too. Anyway, the point is that I wanted to know why it was on the floor. I was just curious. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. You know, like telling my mother that cigarettes could kill her. Thankfully, I didn't get punched in the face this time. I just had my hand stuck on a burning hot oven rack, which I am surprised did not scar either of my hands. Well, I guess I shouldn't say either because my right hand was never touched, but I mean, it didn't burn, like it didn't scar or melt any of my skin on my hand, so I got fucking lucky. It wasn't that hot, but it was still fucking hot enough for me to scream. Like, I never understood why it happened. I don't understand now. I mean, my mother did so many things that I don't understand, never did understand, and I mean, I never will understand. She's been gone since, like, 2016. So, and mind you, I'm not sad about it. The first thing that I said when I found out that she passed away was it should have been on my birthday. But it was on Mother's Day, so I'll take that as a win. My mother did so many horrible, horrible fucking things. And if I didn't know how to compose myself, no, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's obvious where it would have gone. So, let me wrap up this memory by saying, never understood it then, still don't understand now, I never will at all. But I do know that it's an experience that I know I will never, ever put my children in, because I may not have full recollection of everything my mother did to me, but I know I have enough recollections of the things she did to me to know that I should never be this way to my children. Be any sort of way to my children other than loving and supporting, which I tried my damnedest to be. Good memory. Now, mind you, growing up, I was, of course, one of those children that, since I was mostly a happy-go-lucky kid outside of my mother's abuse, and I didn't really have an understanding of the outside world and how it worked, typically for a 9-year-old child, you know? So, there were, well, specifically, when it comes to this memory, I have a night where our power was turned off. And, mind you, personally, I thought that we had a power outage. Because being in Oklahoma, we're in the belt, we're in the buckle of the tornado alley belt, and this was I'm pretty sure, holy shit, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the year that we had that giant tornado eye above our house that killed our parakeet. Neither here nor there, we're not talking about that story. Point is that this is the house we were in. And the area we were at had storms all the goddamn time. Like I said, one night we even had the eye of a tornado rotating above our house. But one night, our power went out, and again, I thought it was just a power outage. Figured it was going to be typical for either our house or our neighbors, because it's happened multiple times before. But what I didn't realize or understand at the time was the power company cut our power. And upon thinking about it when recording these episodes, I realized that it was because my mother took all of the money. Because that's all she ever did was take all of my dad's money when he worked. And this, I guess, was my first time experiencing the repercussions of that. Because my dad, he didn't know until he got home later that day. After it had happened, he didn't know what was going on. He was freaking out. He was so angry. This is the first time I had actually seen my dad angry. And he did everything he could. He tried calling the power company. Tried getting the information out of my mother as to where the money went. Because I'm pretty sure this was the crack that started the break, if you know what I mean. But after a while, I remember going into the backyard with my dad, and I think my brother was with us too, and he was tinkering with the breaker in the back. And I don't remember what he was doing, but he was doing something. He got the breaker open. He was tinkering with wires and cables and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, poof, our lights turned back on. Which, kind of think of it now, it does sound like a power outage, but again, I don't remember my dad ever saying the words power outage. And you don't usually get this angry over a power outage when pretty sure it was just us. So I am all but positive that it was the power company turning our power off because my mother didn't pay our power bill. And I think it wasn't just the start of the crack with my dad either, because next week I'm going to explain what happened shortly after this night. So it's not going to be fun. But the good behind this memory was seeing that my dad, even though coming home into a situation that not only should not have happened, that he did his damnedest to make sure wouldn't happen, he did the most respectable thing in the situation that I could possibly think of, even to this day, in the situation that we were in, now that I can understand what was going on. And that was surprise, of course, then anger, of course, trying to figure out what happened, understanding the situation, recomposing himself, and then fixing the problem himself. Because when it came to my mother, I had seen her angry, I had seen her upset, I had seen her do all of these things emotion-wise, but never do anything to fix anything that angered her. She would just lash out. But Dad, he knew how to go through his emotions properly so he could land on the proper / appropriate emotion for the situation. Took us back to behind the house, ripped open the breaker box, started tinkering with things until we had power again. And yeah, our night just went normally after that, because I don't have too much memory from the rest of that night. I do, however, have a very vivid memory of what happened later on, which is going to be next week. So, final thought. The only thing I really think on my final thought for this episode is if you see an under rack on the floor, just leave it alone. Don't even ask questions. Just mention it's there and then leave it alone until it's gone. That's what I learned anyway. And then my dad showed me that a real man fixes the problems for his family because family is the most important thing. He always put us ahead, and That's about it. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining. Next week's gonna be something. It's gonna be difficult.